Welcome to Math with Miss Borja. In this video, I am going to cover how to add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators, and we'll go through 3 examples each, 3 for addition and 3 for subtraction. So now, let's jump into our examples starting with number 1. We have 310 plus 2, 6. When we add fractions, we need a common denominator. In other words, the bottom numbers need to be the same in order to add. For number 1, we have a 10 and a 6, so obviously we don't have a common denominator to start with. So the first thing that we need to do is to find the common denominator. And we can do that by finding the least common multiple between the two given denominators. I think you can easily recognize the LCM between the two when you see the given. If not, you can list the multiples in order to easily find it. So let's start with the multiples of 10. We'll start with 10. The first 4 multiple of 10 is 10, 20, 30, and 40. And for 6, we have 6, 12, 18, and 24. As you can see, we still don't have a common multiple, so let's add a multiple to 6, and that is 30. We can see now that they both have 30, so the least common multiple now is 30. The next step is to rename. So let's rename our fraction with a new denominator, which is 30. So the arrow here below signifies that we need to divide 30 by 10 and multiply it to 3 to get our new numerator, which is 9. So the same process with the second one. So 30 divided by 6 is 5, multiplied to 2, and the product is 10. So we have a common denominator, so we can add. 9 plus 10 is 19, and copy the denominator, which is 30. The last step is to simplify the answer, wherein 19 over 30 is in the simplest form since 1 is the only common factor. So we have here our second example, which is 5, 8 plus 5, 6 is equal to. So the same process with example number 1. So the first step is to find the common denominator of the given fractions. We have 8 and 6 as our denominators, wherein it is unlike. And we will list the multiples of 8, which are 8, 16, 24, and 32.
As for the multiples of 6, we have 6, 12, 18, and 24.
Since 8 and 6 both have 24, the LCM now becomes 24. So the next step is to rename. So let's rename our fraction with the new denominator, which is 24. So the same with example number 1. The arrow here signifies that the new denominator, which is 24, will be divided by 8 and multiplied to 5 to get the new numerator, so which is 15. So the same process with the second one. So 24 divided by 6 is 4 times 5 is equal to 20. So the third step, which is to add. Since we have a common denominator, which is 24, copy 24 and add the numerator, which is 15 plus 20 is equal to 35. So the answer is 35 over 24. So the last step is to simplify the answer, wherein 35 over 24 is in the simplest form since 1 is the only common factor. As for the third example, we have 1/3 plus 3, 6 is equal to. So the first step is to find the common denominator, wherein we will list the multiples of 3 and 6. So the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, and 12. As for the multiples of 6, we have 6, 12, 18, and 24. Since they both have 6, the LCM now will be 6. Now, let's rename our fraction with the new denominator, which is 6. So the same process with the previous examples, the arrow here signifies that we need to divide 6 by 3 and multiply to 1 to get the new numerator, which is and 3 for the second one. So the third step is to add. So since we have a common denominator which is 6, we can add them both. So 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 and just copy the denominator which is 6. So our answer is 5, 6 and 5, 6 is in the simplest form. And now, we will proceed to subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So the process here is just the same when adding fractions with unlike denominators except for number 3. So here we will subtract. So we have here our first example, which is 5, 6 minus 3, 12 is equal to blank. So the first step is to find the common denominator. So we will list the multiples of 6 and 12. So we have here the multiples of 6, which are 6, 12, 18, and 24. As for the multiples of 12, we have here 12, 24, 36, and 48. So as you can see, the least common multiple is 12. So let's rename our fraction using the new denominator, which is 12. So the same process, the arrow signifies that 12 will be divided by 6 and will be multiplied to 5 to get the new numerator, which is 10. So the same with the second one, which is 12 divided by 12 is 1 times 3 is equal to 3. So since we have both a 12 as a common denominator, we can subtract. So 10 minus 3 is 7 and we just copy the denominator. So the last step is to simplify. So since 712 is in the simplest form, it is now our final answer. So for our second example, we have here 610 minus 1 half. So the first step is to find the common denominator. So we need to list the multiples of 10 and 2. So we will start with 10. So the four multiples of 10 are 10, 20, 30, and 40. As for the multiples of 2, we have here 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So we will rename our fraction with the new denominator, which is 10. So the same process, 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1 times 6 is 6 minus 10 divided by 2 is 5 times 1 is equal to 5. So since we have a common denominator, we can subtract. So 6 minus 5 is equal to 1 and just copy the denominator, which is 10. So our final answer is 1 over 10. As for the last example, we have here 7 minus 2/3 is equal to. So to find the common denominator, we will list the multiples of 9 and 3. So we have the multiples of 9, which are 9, 18, 27, and 36. As for the multiples of 3, we have 3, 6, 9, and 12. And now we will rename our fraction with the new denominator, which is 9. So the same process, we will divide 9 by 9 and multiply it to 7 to get the new numerator, which is 7. So the same process with the second one, which is 9 divided by 3 is equal to 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So since we have a common denominator, which is 9, we can now subtract. So 7 minus 6 is equal to 1 and just copy the denominator, which is 9. So our answer is 1/9, wherein 1/9 is in the simplest form. And that ends my discussion. Thank you for watching.